Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Sonic 3 Knuckles. In the last part we ventured through Lava Reef and had a climactic duel against Knuckles, quote unquote. And now we're here in the final zone of the game, Egg Zone. Which is thankfully not just 3 rooms like it was in Sonic 2, now it's actually a full out level. And I love this song, though part of me does miss the trippiness that was the original Sonic 2 track. I mean seriously, if you guys ever listened to the full track from Sonic 2, it's weird. And this place is, first off, one of the only stages in the game where you can take advantage of the electric shield's immunity to electric attacks. But it's also a very anti-gravity based stage. We'll see more of that, especially in the second stage. But there's going to be a lot of stuff here where we just kind of do stuff like this. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, honestly. It's not the hardest stage in the game, honestly. I think the hardest stage in the game is still Sandopolis, but this can be annoying. Like in the background, though, that just screams Death Star more than usual. Honestly, though, as a whole, this stage, I don't really get some of the things they did with it. Because first off, there's some weird loop-like moments like this where you're just looping around in circles over and over and over again. And there's also some really dickish enemies like that guy there. I hate that guy's enemy type. Because more often than not, you don't get a chance to kill them until they've already hit you, and that's no good. Gotta say though, I like not the background, well no, I already said I like the background. I also really like the stage interior design, those little orange machines, I don't know why. And that's about it for the first stage, though, because there are some very unique platforms here, like we saw one earlier, but there's one that acts like a seesaw, and if you go too far to an extreme, the platform will break. And you also have these platforms that are more or less staircases, which I honestly question the purpose of. You could just jump over their height most of the time. Though I'm not a fan of this little sound effect here. Don't know why, just not. It grates my ears. It gets even worse in a certain later section. There's also these random conveyor belt elevators, which I absolutely hate, especially a certain one in the second half. That's just really annoying, and thank God for the electric shield, otherwise I would have gotten damaged there. No, it's kind of weird thinking about it, but the elemental shields. From after this game, the only one that really gets brought back is the electric shield for some reason, until Sonic Generations. Which is an odd time to bring it back after so long. Anyway, this section's pretty simple. What we have to do here is, you see that little yellow thing there in the center? We have to turn all of the yellow portions red. And to do that, we just have to touch them. And this can be actually really annoying. Because, first off, some of the trajectories of the springs is kind of very tight in terms of getting onto something. And also, due to the way the thing moves, there are times where you'll just barely miss the one thing you need to hit. And then there's times where you get trapped in the damn thing like this. I want out. I want out. Get me out of here. Thank you. Though, thankfully, on the whole, this stage is still shorter than a lot of the other ones we've seen. And then there's these random things. I don't know how to describe these things. Well, what they are, they're on rails. You cannot move during them. They're just sent in their general direction. Though there are some you want to avoid, like this one. Like, I think it's actually faster to just run along the floor than to go into this one. Why did Eggman make these? Did he just want to go, maybe I'll make that hedgehog throw up. Maybe that'll get him off my trail for a while. Yes, I'm a genius. But, seriously, why? Either way, time for the mini-boss. This thing is similar to the Metropolis Zone Act 3 boss from Sonic 2. The first phase, every time you hit it, one of its balls explode into spikes going in the 8 cardinal directions. Although I think there's actually 10, I forget. And then you start phase 2, which is this thing that fires lasers and has platforms go around it. As long as you're hypersonic, you can't lose. And that's the end of Act 1. Can be potentially annoying, but it's the lesser of two evils, certainly because Act 2 has some really dumb sections. Well, that was weird. Love the remix for Act 2, by the way. And for the most part, this stage's gimmicks are the same, except whenever you go through one of those, more often than not, your orientation on the wall is switched. And I can't go back and get that electric shield now, which makes me sad. This stage is honestly a bit easier, though, despite this. Because first off, even though you're on the ceiling now, well, ceiling is relative in space, your controls are not reversed. If you want to spin dash, you still hold down. If you want to look up, you still look up. Or press up. Which makes me really question the whole point of it, other than just to disorient you. So, that's kind of pointless. But yeah. There's also these random elevator things that just warp you to another part of the world. Or map. Honestly, though, on the whole, this stage is just kind of there. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but first off, this stage tends to just go a bit too long. Just ever so slightly overstays its welcome, especially if you die in the same spot over and over again, like I always do over here. This is the reason I hate these conveyor belt sections, because these missiles here always hit me, and since I have 0 rings, that means stuff like that happens. Thankfully, once you get past there, it's more or less easy. Nothing really to talk about, though. Though, know what's one weird thing about the Death Egg as a whole? It's obviously supposed to be kind of a reference and ripoff of the Death Star from Star Wars. But in the Archie comics, particularly a lot of the really old ones, in particular from what I recall, the Death Egg itself was very much so a Death Egg. It was actually egg-shaped. Which makes me wonder, why didn't they just do that to start? Because first off, it makes the reference just slightly harder to notice. Secondly, it's a lot more original. I mean, just imagine an egg floating through space. That shit's funny. Especially with a giant egg-shaped scientist piloting it. Well, not piloting, owning it. Trying to conquer the world. Though, I also have to wonder, how did Eggman repair this thing so quickly, all things considered? Because Sonic couldn't have been on for Angel Island as a whole for more than maybe a day, 2 days total, if even. So how did he make repairs from the entire ending of Sonic 2 in like 2 hours plus, even? Because based on how much damage was done to this thing back in Sonic 2, it shouldn't have been repaired that quickly. Well, now I'm just nitpicking about story in a game where I really shouldn't be thinking about story. Because has a Sonic game ever had a good story, really? Not really, aside from maybe honestly, the storybook games. Particularly Black Knight. Speaking of which, I really don't get why people hate on Black Knight so much. It's not that bad. Motion controls aren't even that intrusive. In my eyes, at least. Now, Secret Rings, there's a piece of crud. Especially controls-wise. They just had to use that motion controls. Motion controls can be good, especially when it's IR, but I'm ranting about that. Either way, we're coming up on the boss, which is honestly the most annoying yet. The way this boss works is that you can't actually hurt it yourself. I guess it's made of the same titanium or whatever that Eggman made the Lava Reef Zone boss out of. But the way you harm it is with these little spike bots it drops out. The spikes need to land on it. You can't hurt it with the non-spikes. And the best way to tackle this boss is just go from side to side spin dashing and hope you win soon enough. I don't like this boss because for the most part it's kind of luck-based. And I don't like luck-based stuff in my platformers. I mean, yeah, there's some element of timing to it, but I'm just thankful you don't have to hit the little yellow thing. You just have to hit the thing in general. In fact, that yellow thing there, I think, is there just... Actually, you know what? I think I know what that yellow thing is for. What's actually happening here is that you can hurt the boss on your own, but that thing there is to bump you off. Like a bumper. I see. I've actually never thought about it like that. Huh. Now this boss makes sense. Slightly. And that's the end of that. Alright, Eggman. Come here, boy! Damn, this fat man can run! Oh. That's a big robot. This is not Death Egg Robo from Sonic 2, though. This is the Kyodai Eggman Robo, ladies and gentlemen, and I love this boss theme. But honestly, this fight isn't too bad. The first phase here, you're trying to take out the fingers. Best way to handle that, let them slam on the ground, get in between them first off, charge up a Spindash, and when they're on the ground, let go of your Spindash, but hold the down button so you're constantly in the ball form, meaning you'll get hits on multiple fingers. At that point, it's just a matter of time before you destroy them all. Though I'm not gonna lie, I have had playthroughs where I've just tried to get this guy to flip me the double bird. It's always funny for me for some reason. Because I'm an immature 12-year-old at heart. And now for phase 2, which if you have Tails with you is annoying, which is actually the main reason I didn't bring Tails with me for this ride. The way this works is you have to hit his nose, and then he tries to use the Master Emerald to fire a giant laser out at you. After which the thing will close up, and then the nose will fire at you. It's easy in concept, but if you have Tails here, there's one thing that makes this annoying. You see, you can't even touch the thing during its invincibility frames. Your momentum will send you careening off into that bottom left corner, which is a bottomless pit. So, if you have Tails here, you're likely to die a lot more. Alright, you're trying to escape in your Egg-O-Matic again, huh? Well, this phase of the fight's very simple. Hold right and jump into him. Hopefully your momentum won't carry you off into the bottomless pit. 8 hits and he's down. And if you were playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles without getting any of the Chaos Emeralds or Super Emerald, this would be the final boss. However, since we got all those, there's a bit more to the game. Oh, that's a lot of things. Since we have all Super Emeralds, it can also be all Chaos Emeralds, we are sent into Doomsday Zone, the first Supersonic exclusive final boss in the series. They would later keep on doing this until Sonic Colors. This boss fight is very simple, because first off, you're starting off as Supersonic or Hypersonic if you have him, and you're just collecting rings, because you want to keep your stock up, because as usual, if you lose all your rings, you die instantly in this zone. The thing is here, your controls are changed a bit. You don't jump when you press A, B, or C. You boost in the direction that you're holding, preferably forward to catch up with Eggman and his little ship. If you get hit by the missiles, you're slowed down a bit, and that's also wasting a few rings, so don't let that happen. And meteors do the same thing. Either way, once you get the idea to boost, I'd recommend having around 90 rings for this first phase. Start boosting forward, and you should hopefully catch up to him in no time. There you are. This thing is very heavily armored. We can't damage it ourselves, so we have to pull a Mega Man X6 gate and have his missiles hit his face. 8 of those and he goes down. The pellets do the same things as the missiles do, they just push you backwards a bit. It's honestly not that bad. By the way, I love the background here. And once you hit this thing with 8 missiles, then you start phase 2. The thing explodes, but Eggman escapes once again with that little face as a giant robot that looks exactly like the one we just destroyed. Only smaller. In fact, that actually might be the Death Egg Robo. And now you just repeat. Gather some rings. I recommend up to 70 or 80 for this phase. And then once you're comfortable, boost forward. By the way, I love this song. It's not as good as the other final boss theme, but this is nice. And this one's pretty simple. He just shoots mines out at you, which can push you backwards, yes, but if you just boost forward and hit him 8 times, he goes down. And yeah, this final boss is honestly really easy. It kind of really makes getting the Chaos Emeralds kind of anticlimactic, honestly, because the game is over. I should note that if you get the bad ending by not getting all the 7 Chaos Emeralds, the Master Emerald stays in space, and what's about to happen doesn't happen. Now, before I get started on my opinions of the game, I've got to mention I'm doing a slight musical edit here, because the Sonic 3 and Knuckles, when you play it, uses the Sonic and Knuckles credits theme. I'm going to save that for when I eventually play as Knuckles. So for here, I'm actually inserting the Sonic 3 standalone credits theme, which is Strangers in Moscow by Michael Jackson. No, I'm not kidding. Look it up. It's uncanny. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Sonic 3 Knuckles as Sonic. How is it? Honestly, it's my favorite Sonic game to date, 2D-wise or in general. Because the thing is about this game is that while it controls like Sonic 2, the levels design is just incredible. These levels I'm still finding things in today, and that is my main reason for loving the game so much. There's so much replay value. You can go back to the stage and still find things almost 20 years later. Oh, no, over 20 years later. And I love that. Plus, the soundtrack is fantastic, and for a Genesis game, this looks pretty damn good. Now, as for Knuckles, I will play as him eventually. Not coming up, though. I'm going to take a break because I want to do some other games. Next up, though, besides that, in the Sonic universe that I am playing, I am going backwards a bit, actually, because I want to get Sonic CD done before I go anywhere else in the series. So look forward to that. But Sonic 3 and Knuckles as Knuckles is what's next in this series, but that won't be for a while. There's Brad Buxer. And Shiracho, or Shirako, or however you pronounce that. I believe it's actually a company that Michael Jackson himself has worked a lot with. That is a theory I heavily believe in, and I recommend you guys do some research. There's some pretty interesting stuff on it. Also, I'd like to note that, a bit of continuity's sake, the Tornado still has the rocket on it from the end of Sonic 2. Also, they just flipped the sprite around because Sonic's name is now Xenos. But yeah, if you want to play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, there are a lot of ports. Let's see, let me get them all up. Let's see, both cartridges are available on the Genesis. There's a Sega Saturn version through Sonic Jam. There's the PC, it's on the GameCube through various collections, the Xbox through a few collections, PS2 through a few collections, PSP, Sonic, the Wii, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Nintendo DS, and Steam. So there is a lot of ports you can play this game on. I recommend it. It's honestly, it's not only my favorite Sonic game, it's honestly one of my favorite games of all time. Top 10 worthy. And yeah. That's Sonic 3 Knuckles as Sonic. I won't be doing a Tails playthrough at all because, honestly, Tails is just Sonic who can float. There's nothing really different aside from that, and they don't even get any different endings. But with that, I'm going to end this off here with Seizure Sonic. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great night. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you guys next Let's Play. Whatever that may be. I honestly don't know at this moment. I have an idea of something that's going to happen very soon, though, but I'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But yeah. See you guys then.